everyone, Beate here and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share my online shopping rules with you. Whether you are an experienced online shopper or the task has been a bit daunting to you, I hope that some of these guidelines can help you in whatever you need to buy. I will have timestamps down below for you to skip forward to any certain part. Knowing your size and your exact measurements is extremely helpful. I advise knowing at least 3. Your bust size, and if you wear a bra on a regular basis, I would take that measurement with your daily bra that you usually wear. Your waist, your true waist, so in other words, the really thinnest part of your body, so not where your belly button is, it's usually just a little higher than your belly button. And then your hip, the widest part of your hip. If you have any other feature that stands out, that is quite outside of the usual size, medium or large or small, I would go and also note that down. Maybe you have broader shoulders, or you have extremely long legs, or anything of that nature. You can take your measurements by using a tape measure like this one. This one is brilliant because it's got inches on one side and then centimeters on the other. And I have my measurements on my phone on a note where I have it both in inches and in centimeters. That way, whether you shop from an international brand or a local brand, you could navigate your way around. When you're online, check for the size guide somewhere on the page and have a look through that. Each design house might differ a little bit from one to the other, and having these measurements on hand is extremely helpful. Of course, they won't match up perfectly with, you set, for example, all 3 measurements placing you in one block, but I would go and maybe choose the block. So say, for example, 2 of my measurements matches up with a small and 1 with a medium. I'd rather go for the small size. Except if I know that in that area I prefer a more snug or then looser type of fit. Of course, if you have other items from the brand that you've already purchased, use that as a guideline as well. No mindless scrolling. You need to know that there are plenty of people out there whose job it is to make these websites as beautiful and as easy to shop on to get you to spend more money. When I find myself scrolling endlessly or scrolling without reason, I'll always find something that I don't need, or at least that I didn't plan to buy. This leads to regret, wastefulness, and experiencing disappointment after shopping. I suggest always having a wish list. I have one on my Notes app on my phone, and whenever I spot that there is something that I need, I add it to my wish list. The idea is not to tick it off within the first week of adding it to the wish list, as if it's on the grocery list. The idea is for it to sit there, to allow me to think about the purchase that I want to make and really see if it's something that I continue wishing for and hoping to have in my closet. This is really a great way to encourage slow fashion and conscious buying. After some time goes by and you continue wishing for it, I would go back to my wish list and realize, I've already added it. And yes, I thought about it again. Or sometimes I'll have a look at my wish list and realize, oh my goodness, I have no need to buy this anymore and I don't want it. And therefore, I remove it from my wish list. The most difficult part of online shopping to me is having a look at the construction. When I look at items, I turn them upside down, inside out. I look at the seams, I look at the stitching work, I look at the fabric, I look at the button work, how they were sewn on, and even the zips, and any other type of closure really. Of course, the item that I'm going to be inspecting online is not the one ending up in my hands. When I am in store, in person, I like to go through the items and try and spot the one with the neatest finishings. This is more difficult when buying online. So my advice is really zoom in as much as you can and have a look at those seams, the stitch work, and all of the other things that I've mentioned. Also try and have a look at different colors, different colorways of the same item. Sometimes, for example, with a black item, you can't always see the stitching that easily. But when you have a look at, say, a light pink or a brighter color, you might see those zips and fastenings much easier. If the item that you are wanting to buy is sold on more than one website, I would go to a few websites and have a look if they have different pictures. I often find that some of the pictures are the same, but then you have a few additional pictures on a different website. So I go on full investigation mode. When shopping online, it's easy to go to department stores and filter through all of the items that they have. But more recently, a lot of vintage shops is now online as well. So do not disregard your thrifting and your vintage shopping just because you're sitting on your couch. Have a look at some of the websites. I have had some great finds, and you can also filter according to the color and sizing that you are interested in. The care label is also something to consider. It tells you exactly how to care for the garment after you've purchased it. In other words, how to wash it, how to iron it, and so forth. I don't know if you've noticed, but more and more I've seen brands saying it's hand wash only, or almost treating the fabric as a delicate fabric when I know it actually can go into the machine. The reason for that is the companies are trying to push any of the responsibility that they have onto the consumer. So in other words, if something goes wrong with the fabric, they can easily say, no, but you did not hand wash it, therefore the fabric went, it shrinked, for example. The good news is I don't find care labels intimidating at all, and I think washing your clothes and caring for them is actually extremely easy. I have 2 videos on that, so I'll have them linked down below. But checking the care label is very important if you have little confidence caring for specialty fabrics. When it comes to color, it is very important to know what you like and what looks good on you. You need to remember that companies also match up models with the correct coloring for a specific item. In other words, for the picture to look picture perfect. If you don't have the same coloring as the model, you might look washed out, or it's just completely unflattering on you. Knowing which colors you like and that looks good on you is extremely beneficial. I would recommend sticking to neutrals, or then having a look at the things that you love to wear, specifically the color that you love to wear. The item, of course, needs to match your personal style and your daily activities. So you need to remember that these photos are sometimes aspirational. Again, it's trying to get you to consume more goods. So my advice is really thinking how and where that item will fit into your lifestyle. I would even take my computer or my phone with me into the closet and trying to almost create outfits with the item that I am wanting to buy. I build a few potential outfits, and in that way I can ensure that the item I'm planning on buying is actually going to work inside of my closet. When it comes to fabrics, some fabrics photograph extremely well and look brilliant on camera and in pictures. But in real life, when you have a look at it in person, it doesn't have the same effect. It's difficult to sometimes note the weight and the true texture of the fabric online. So I really encourage you to zoom in and look properly at the fabric. I also encourage you to look for the composition label or the fabric label somewhere, also probably close to the size guide. That will tell you what type of fabric it is made out of, and that is extremely helpful. For example, polyester photographs extremely well, but in real life it can have a very synthetic feel because it is synthetic and doesn't always feel good on the skin. As a rule, I stick to natural fabrics, or when I look at blends, I'm trying to find a blend with a lower percentage of synthetic fabrics or fibers in that material. If you'd like to learn more about fabrics, I've done 2 seasons on fibers and fabrics, but I'll link 3 videos down below just on natural fabrics, semi-synthetics, and synthetics to give you a better idea of what each of these categories means and how they perform. And then lastly, I really want to encourage you to not overbuy with the intention of sending things back. The fashion industry has many flaws, and one of them is that for brands, especially fast fashion brands, it's much easier and cheaper to discard the items instead of putting it back into the system. The cost of producing clothing went down dramatically, which means that if items are being sent back by a customer, it's sometimes easier to disregard them completely instead of inspecting them and making sure that everything is still intact the way that they were actually sent out and being put back into the warehouses for new consumers to buy. This of course results in unnecessary waste. I know it might seem extremely daunting for me to say, do not overbuy, don't plan to send back when you are shopping online because you are uncertain of some features of the item. But if you follow some of these steps or all of these steps that I've given you, the chances of you making a mistake is very, very small. I hope that you learned something today, and if you feel that I've missed something, I need to add a certain point to my list, please tell me down below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.